Welcome to Life Beyond Clinical Practice, a podcast for health professionals who've outgrown their clinically defined identities and are ready to explore multidimensional ways to contribute, lead, and grow within or outside of healthcare. In the show, Dr. Diane unpacks why so many mid-career professionals feel restless and become curious about opportunities available to clinicians beyond the walls of traditional career paths. So, if you know you're meant for broader impact and more expansive expressions of your expertise, you're in the right place. Sit back, relax, and let's listen to Dr. Diane.
Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Life Beyond Clinical Practice podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Diane, and today's episode is going to deal with the question of what do we do when success no longer feels like success? When we really crave something different, despite ticking all the external boxes, reaching the metrics, looking like we have it made on the outside, but something internally is signaling it's time for change. Now, have you ever looked around and thought, I've worked so hard to get here, so why does this not feel the way I imagined? Or why am I grateful for the life I have, but restless? Something inside is just not settled anymore. Or perhaps you've asked yourself, why have I achieved everything I once wanted and worked so hard to get, yet something still feels missing? If you've ever asked yourself those questions, then I want to throw some questions right back at you. What if nothing is wrong with you? What if this phase isn't burnout? What if you've simply outgrown the version of yourself who built your career that got you to this point? Unconventional thinking, right? But in today's episode, we're going to talk about that uncomfortable point in an accomplished professional's life when success stops feeling like success. Because it's important to understand and accept that our definition of success evolves over the course of our lives. Early in our career, things like competence, stability, respect, achievement, income, those are all meaningful and we use them to build a relatively good life. But as we reach a certain point later in our career, most people begin craving different things. Things like creativity and meaning, greater influence. They want to make contributions in new areas. Or perhaps they want more autonomy or simply want to grow in new ways. Our success metrics change because we change. And this is a universal phenomenon, not unique to healthcare. Like my own journey. Before I left South Africa, I was a professor, I was a researcher, I was climbing the ranks, ticking all the boxes. The career I worked so hard to build suddenly changed when I made an intentional decision to immigrate to Canada. And I made that decision because I wanted a different way of life. I wanted to define life on my terms. I wanted to live in a space that reflected who I was, the kind of internal and external peace I needed. And that caused me to redefine on many levels what I wanted my professional contribution to look like. But from the outside, others may have thought, the career you worked so hard to build, you're now giving up? Well, let me say that it's not giving up. It's a redefinition of your value because you're expanding the way you think and the way you see your positioning in the world. And that's exactly how I've approached this phase of my professional life in Canada with Life Beyond Clinical Practice in the kind of assignments and projects I've taken on since being in this country. Immigration changed how I saw my life and what mattered to me. And that demanded a shift in the way I thought about my career, my accolades, and my professional contributions. It's not like there was a big bang. I didn't fail. By every measure, I was succeeding and at the pinnacle of my academic career. Well, almost. But I realized that as my life evolved, what I valued evolved, and that I was becoming someone my existing career at the time no longer fully represented. I wanted to impact and influence in different ways. I wanted a life and career that was less politically charged, more creative, gave me more autonomy in terms of the multidimensional expression of my value. And that was the beginning of career identity expansion for me personally. And it really is the starting point for everyone who's facing this question of what's next? I've achieved all of this, but I want something else. I want something different. I want something more. Now, here's the conversation that we collectively need to expand as a community. Many people confuse this shift in how we feel towards our careers as burnout. It's incorrectly labeled. You're tired of what you're doing, or you simply don't want to do that anymore, right? You want something fresh, something new. And now I'm not belittling burnout. Burnout is real. So the reality of it and how it plays out in healthcare, I'm not downplaying that by any means. But I think burnout has been an easy term to label this phase of mid-career malaise. Compassion fatigue is real. Moral injury is real in healthcare. But recently, I've been questioning whether we've become so accustomed to using burnout as the explanation for every form of dissatisfaction that we've overlooked another very real possibility. Now, what if you've simply mastered your current chapter? Your curiosity has outgrown your role. Your values have evolved. You've become more creative, or you've developed capacities that your current identity simply can't express fully. In short, you've expanded beyond the role that once fit you perfectly, and that's not burnout. That is identity shifting. Now, professional identity is a powerful concept in careers, especially in healthcare. People don't become clinicians and identify their role simply as a job. They begin to embody their clinical role and naturally say things like, oh, I'm a nurse. You go to a social event. What do you do? I'm a pharmacist. And eventually, the profession becomes the person. And that creates identity fusion. You see yourself as that title. So the moment you reach a point where you want more, leaving, or even changing can feel like losing yourself. And that's a huge hurdle for many who reach this point of questioning what's next. Now, here's the cost of identity attachment. Most people stay because they believe changing means admitting the past was a mistake, when in many respects it never was. It was a season that you've now outgrown. So that's a false belief, because as I mentioned at the beginning, as human beings and professionals, we are constantly growing and evolving. So what we value at different stages of our growth and life changes over time. Just because something no longer works now doesn't mean it wasn't right in the past season, or it wasn't necessary or important for an earlier phase of your life. One of the most important ideas I've come to believe is this: outgrowing a career identity doesn't invalidate the life you built. Because every version of ourselves prepares us for the next one. So in essence, you're really building on what you've already done. The purpose of one chapter is often to equip us for the next. So each season has a specific purpose and its own value, which should never be downplayed, because really, as I said, each chapter just builds on the next. And you become a fuller version of who you are as a professional, and not confined to any particular box that society may have put you in because of your titles or labels. Now, over the past few months, I've been trying to find language for this experience. And I realized it's not burnout, dissatisfaction, or even the need for reinvention or career change or career pivoting. It's something much deeper that I've now come to call career identity expansion. Career identity expansion is the natural process of evolving beyond the professional identity that once fits you, without rejecting the value of the life and career that brought you here. Now, if you think this sounds like the pivotal point you are at in your career, there are several signs that your career identity may be expanding. The primary one is to notice yourself saying things like, there has to be something else. Notice that you're no longer asking, what job should I apply for or what promotion is next? You are keenly aware that you're becoming a different version of yourself. And that's a profound shift. So I'll leave you with this one question today. Ask yourself, what part of my professional identity have I outgrown? Because maybe success no longer feels like success because success was never meant to be a permanent destination. It's simply a milestone, a chapter, a version of you. And perhaps the discomfort you're feeling isn't asking you to abandon your past. It's inviting you to expand beyond it, because outgrowing a career identity doesn't invalidate the life you built. It simply honors it by allowing everything you've learned to become the foundation for what comes next. So until next time, reflect on that. Email me if you have any thoughts about what this means for you and you want to have a conversation about what you're processing. I'd love to walk the journey of career identity expansion with you. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram for more insights. And I look forward to connecting with you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to Life Beyond Clinical Practice. If today's conversation resonated with you and helped you to see what's possible beyond your current role, then your career identity expansion has already begun. You can follow Dr. Diane on LinkedIn and Instagram at Dr. Diana Van Staden, subscribe to the Life Beyond Clinical Practice YouTube channel, or follow its social media pages for more content that helps you get clear on your next chapter. And if you're ready to explore more ways your expertise can be shared, then join the Career Identity Expansion Lab waitlist for an opportunity to design your next chapter together with Dr. Diane. Until next time, remember, your career doesn't have to stay confined to your professional title because there are broader ways to contribute, create, lead, and grow. And this podcast exists to help you discover just that.